Like some people said in another video, a generic Harbor Freight grinder, 4.5-inch grinder, this is the thing to hold it so that you can break it loose to change the cutoff wheel. This fits perfectly in this oil pump thing. In order to do the timing, even if you're not replacing the oil pump stuff, you still need to take the gears off so that you can replace the friction washer behind them. So that's what I'm going to do right now.
Can't we just undo the tensioner?
You're smarter than everyone I've ever met, Billy.
Yeah.
Nope, they designed this very cleverly. There is a groove on the inside of this crankshaft. Doesn't seem like it's supposed to be there. So I'm going to push up right here. That's one. Another one to go between the two, and that's this surface down as well. That one fits snug like it's supposed to. Now this one will go back on. Something like this. I dropped it over the place to break that bolt loose. Anyway, I'm gonna put the oil chain back together. All of that for one little friction washer. Now I should be replacing this. I should be replacing the guide and the tensioner and the chain, but I'm poor. It'll be alright. This thing has a little hook that hooks onto this bolt. There's a little groove that this hooks into, which is very important. It helps you hold it there when you're installing it. And don't cross thread this. Factory cam gear. I know it's gonna be hard to see, but I've put a black magic marker right from this one, this embossment, onto the actual cam, so that when we line up the other one, the new one, which I have also done that with, we can get it right. So 24 is a bit loose.
Yeah, that's pretty much on there.
Make sure that you get rid of the old friction washer.
See where you marked it there.
Oh, that's stupid.
What?
I almost rubbed that mark off. So this is the most important surface that you have to get clean and dry. Brand new friction washer. You're going to drop it down in there, so it's sitting in there. It's got 3 tangs. Take your bolt and stick her up through here. Struggle City. You just kind of spin it until the washer's down on there. It's pretty much flush, whatever. Up. So, what I've done is I've matched up the marks that I made on the cam based on the original gear. As you can see, its mark right there. And I've duplicated that with the other gear and then put it on, rotate it until it lines up, and that's where you torque it down. This bolt is the only one that needs to be lined up with the cam gear. The other 2 need to be loose while you're doing timing. This one has a specific orientation because these tangs right here line up with holes that are in the actual gear, and that those line up with the galleys in the actual cam, and that's how it controls it. So that's why this needs to be oriented to this in that specific way. $55, and actually I'm going to set it to 60 because I like to live dangerously. I'll make sure that that does not spin. Okay, she's ready to go. Isn't that satisfying, really?
Yep.
Don't forget to pull your old friction washer off. This is our exhaust cam gear. Just gonna wipe it clean. Mainly this surface right here. Now this one has a flat surface, has an indented surface. This is what goes on the cam. We're not gonna tighten this yet. This is part of our timing in that we're leaving this loose to take the slack out of get all the slack out. Also, this surface has to be super clean and dry. Rather clean friction washer. It's good to go. All the cam caps inside have a little stamping. This is 0.382. The next one, 382, 0.382, 382, 362, 362, 302, 342. Let me try this one more time. When you take your cams out and you take the caps off the cams, if for whatever reason you're doing that, record or write down which ones go on which valves. your eyes and your ease. Almost did it. It's a really easy mistake to make. You're gonna hand start them and make sure that those journals are clean. Now we're gonna get the exhaust can gear in there. When you get these in here, one of the ways to tell if you're putting them, because you're going to want to put them in as though the cams are at top dead center for the most part. Once you tighten them down, you're going to be compressing a valve, so you're going to want to turn them until your cam tool lines up in these slots. But there's two ways to tell if you're basically pretty close to top dead center as far as when these go in, because they're not going to go in perfect. This slot is offset upwards a little bit. The side that's shorter distance right here versus this longer distance, the shorter distance is going to be on the top on both of these cams. The other way, and this is the way most people know for top dead center, is that when you're at top dead center on cylinder 1, which is where my cylinder 1 piston is right now with the TDC pin, the valves for intake and exhaust are at approximately a 45-degree angle facing inward towards each other. Always remember, when you're done using your ratchet, to turn it off so that you don't run down the batteries.
I'm gonna kick you.
I'm just trying to help people out, man. When you do this, don't tighten just one of them down all the way. You want to work it slowly because people have apparently broken camshafts. It's never too late to start breaking camshafts. Run them down even. I am going to need that 8mm. And the torque on most of these 10mm bolts on the Mazdas is usually 13 to 16 foot-pounds. So I usually do 16 foot-pounds. The best part about one of these wrenches, you can actually watch if the torque starts going down, you are over tightening it. That is a very, very tight tool. Don't cheap out on this, you get the right one. So when you order the kit for timing, don't know where you get it from specifically. I got mine from. What you get is you get a new actuator. You get 5 friction washers, 3 for the crankshaft and 1 for each camshaft, and you get 1 of each for the new guides. A nice new tensioner. Want to make sure it still has the push pin in it to hold it. You get a new crankshaft bolt, which is torque to yield, and a new chain. The curve guide goes on the passenger side. And that's pretty cool. It just slides on, just hangs there. I think the timing cover actually holds it in place. Other side, it's going to actually bolt on. Tensioner. So our cam plate is in the end of the cam, holding them in place. We got our guides on. We got our tensioner on. They already replaced our friction washers down here. Simply push. You'll notice the slat comes out of here, and then that's why you leave this bolt loose enough so that this gear can rotate just ever so much. So this has already been torqued down to the cam in the place where it needs to be for it to work correctly. Of course, this right here is not going to get tightened down until we put the cover on and lined up the harmonic balancer, the pulley, the crank pulley, and that's what holds the bottom of it with another friction washer. Push the slack out right here and pull it in. That's a happy timing job right there. Good job, Billy.
I still gotta tighten that other one.
What other one? Oh,
Exhaust.
okay. Yeah.
60 or 55.
60, and I'm gonna do it with both hands. The reason I'm doing it with both hands is because it's hard for two separate people to match each other's force, especially when you let off of this. You don't want it rotating everything back, but you want to just match your own force. You're not supposed to do it like this. You're not supposed to leave the cam like that. I don't want those guys. That's scary. Slip right out. Yep. Here, slide right back. Perfect. Let's get video of that. If you... Sorry, I'm moving you around a lot. So, when you're done with this, the goal is for this plate to slide. Help me out, Billy. You want it to slide in and out. Without a huge amount of force. So it slides in and out easily. That means that the cam gear bolts are tightened up correctly in relation to the cam.
They really shouldn't like make this thing and then anodize it, 'cause it just makes it a little thicker.
It's like the powder coat on.
They get it to tolerance and they throw the tolerance out of whack.
She's timed except for the crank. We're gonna get the cover on. You want to make sure the RTV surfaces that you do are clean and dry, that there's no sealant left on them. We've already been over this about 1,000 times, but the last one before we lay it down. This is 100,000 times easier out of the car. Pretty sure the very long one goes down here. The ones, how many?
There was a longer one and there's one with, it's a stud.
The stud one should go right there.
And then there's a longer one. I don't know where it goes.
6 by 1mm bolt. There is a hole right here, lines up with the timing cover, and this gap is kind of on the top and a little bit forward. That's where that needs to be, and then I think it's the 20th tooth right here is going to end up lining up with your crank position sensor, but I've got the right one marked. That's holding her in place for the most part. She's a little bit loose. As long as you've got something to hold it in place, and when you put your crank position sensor on here, you're going to line up the center of the crank position sensor with this 20th tooth. So that small bit of difference right there is okay. So now, got shiny, fresh, new crank bolt. It's the one with the big ass washer. And they tell you to take out my top dead center pin, but I'm living life dangerously. I'll do it after I've gotten my initial torque, which is 75 foot-pounds. So Billy made a tool. Show them your tool. Yeah, show them your tool. I don't know what the correct tool is, but we just made it work. Step 1 is 71 to 76 foot-pounds, so we're doing 75, and then step 2 is 87 to 93 degrees. We'll show you the 90 degrees after we've pulled out the TDC pin, after we've torqued this to 75. Please do not let it move. Alright. Now that it's at 75, and we have to do another 90, I'm going to pull out my TDC pin. I'm going to grab a big ass breaker bar. So we've got them marked, and Billy's going to try his best to not let that move at all.
We should take out this bolt too.
Oh yeah. Cool. Yeah, don't forget to pull out your M6x1 or you'll shear it off in your timing cover, and you don't want that. TDC pin is out and the M6x1 bolt. We'll probably have to switch places, Billy, because I have to go down. Awesome. We did it. And then rotate it over 2 times and see if you can get your timing tool to line up in the end. And if you do it and you hit sudden resistance, you're going to have to stop because you might be hitting valves. Not everything is super perfect, however, I'm fairly satisfied with this. So what we've got is, we are able to slide it in. This thing is exactly right. So, but we do have it in there without having to manipulate anything. It is in both of them. So, pull it out. Timed Mazdaspeed engine. And this is nice and tight on the top. So now, all we've really got left is putting it back together, and we're gonna make sure that you take out your TDC pin and put the stock one back in.
Wherever we put it.
But awesome, there's that. Good to go.